Alright, what's going on, guys? Undoubtedly, the announcement of Elden Ring Nightreign came as a shock to many, with Fromsoftware saying outright numerous times that there was not going to be an Elden Ring sequel or more Elden Ring DLC. But technically, they never said anything about spin-off games, and thus here we are. So with the overwhelming majority of people that saw this trailer extremely happy that we are in fact getting more Elden Ring, as we learned more about what this game actually is, it became abundantly clear that this is not, in fact, what we've come to expect out of Fromsoftware. Nightreign ditches the traditional Souls-like formula and instead goes for a more gamified, roguelike framework with a lot of elements of extraction games and even a little bit from popular battle royales like Fortnite. Now, it doesn't take much of an investigation to see why a lot of people would be upset at this. I've been getting a ton of comments on my own videos of people pretty mad that Fromsoftware would go this route, throwing around phrases like soulless cash grab, and I'm sure if you've been around the Nightreign discourse on the internet at all, you've seen it too. So we're going to take a deep dive into this discussion today, and I want to break this down because it goes a lot further than just the gameplay structure. What does Nightreign actually do for Elden Ring as an IP and a world, even the lore side of things, and what that means for the way we actually look at these games. But as we dive in today, if you want to stay up to date on all things Elden Ring Nightreign, definitely hit that subscribe button because we have a lot more videos down the line. And now let's get into it. Now, to start things off, like I said at the beginning, it's very understandable why people would be put off by a natural change to the formula that has been so successful up till now. Of course, harking back to the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It is of course to say as well, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Whether or not I or you disagree with it doesn't invalidate it. With that being said though, we're going to take a look at some nuanced takes on this. We could sit here and just show L FromSoft dead over and over again. That doesn't help us get the full picture. So for example, let's take a look at this comment. I don't know, this would be absolutely freaking amazing as a mod, the best ever made, but it would still be a mod. That's the whole vibe this gives me. Just dumb, mindless fun, which seems pretty detached from the whole vibe they usually go for. Now, while I disagree with the overall negative sentiment of this comment, I'd be lying if I didn't say, yeah, my first thought too was that this looks like a mod. And in a literal sense, it is. Elden Ring Nightreign is just a modification of the base game Elden Ring, but so is the DLC and any sequel that could have happened. But I get what they're trying to say. Due to the nature of the game, it does appear like it's lacking that handcrafted feeling. And while in a sense it will somewhat procedurally generated with pre-made assets, that's not really the case. In a recent interview with the director, he stated that parts of the map still will have those pre-made encounters, semi-scripted, to create that sense of immersion. So let's not knock it before we even get to try it. But to the point about mindless fun, yes, it does seem like that's their main priority. And the commenter is right, that is a big difference from the priorities and the vibe of the main Souls-like games. And ultimately, that's just going to come down to personal priority. Do you value fun over seriousness and immersion? Or is the main draw for you that adventure? There is no right answer, but it is different, and that is ultimately going to turn some people off from the game. Personally, I'm down for some mindless fun, but maybe I'm just getting older and enjoy not having to take things so seriously all the time. I'm gonna be honest, at first I was so excited to see the Nameless King, but thinking about it now, I'm a little worried. I hope this doesn't mean that Fromsoftware is using nostalgia just to get a cheap emotional reaction from us and that they're starting to run out of ideas. Every big company eventually starts to hit a creative wall. Hopefully they keep being creative and keep taking risks like they've always done. Once again, I think that's a perfectly valid concern. Here's the thing though, this isn't Miyazaki's work. Yes, it is the Elden Ring IP, but what's going on here is that they're letting new directors step forward, take on new creative ideas gameplay wise. But I think what's happening with the story here specifically, and this is corroborated by interviews, is that they're afraid to mess things up for the fans that are heavily invested in the lore. They're already covering their tracks saying, oh, it's just an alternate timeline. That way we don't mess with the story that's already established, which I wish they wouldn't even do. I just wish they'd go all the way with it. Screw it, make every FromSoft game canon, even Armored Core. Imagine the lore discussions going on then. But I think it is easy to see here, instead of lack of creativity, they're wanting to play things safe, and in order to make a full game, they're just gonna reuse the bosses instead of making new ones, which ultimately will save a lot of time and allow us to have a full game in between their major Miyazaki releases, and to get these new directors' feet wet. Now, does this put a stain on Fromsoftware's virtually perfect track record by releasing a small game like this? Because, and this is not a dig dig at Nightreign, objectively, it's not up to the same standard as Elden Ring. I think everyone can see that just from first glance. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just the way it is. They've already stated that Elden Ring is the studio's ceiling. So you can get into a quantity over quality argument, and again, there's no right answer. But personally, I think there's an advantage in experimenting with these smaller titles that don't have a lot of risk attached to them. That way you can see what works and what sticks and apply it to the next major Miyazaki game. You know, there were a lot of people that skipped Sekiro because it tried a lot of new things. Now, granted, that game didn't deviate nearly as much as Nightreign does, but we ultimately got Elden Ring because they tried new things like that. And what better way to really step outside the box than with a spin-off game like this? Now, here's a comment that I think resonates the most with me. I'm glad the devs got to make something they want to play, taking mechanics and bosses from the best Souls game and mashing them together into a fun co-op boss rush game. That's the thing that I think is flying over a lot of people's heads that are negative towards Nightreign. The number one reason this game is made is for fun, and that's the number one rule at Fromsoftware that has led them to their success, is making the games they want to make. We had Elden Ring, which was absolutely massive, and is still at the center point of most gaming conversation today, and we had its DLC. People take Elden Ring so seriously, and yes, it presents itself to be taken as such, but with that, I think Nightreign is the perfect remedy to kind of let everybody chill out, cleanse their palate, but still scratch that FromSoft itch before they release another massive game in 2026 or 2027. Now, to alleviate a lot of the other concerns that people were having, they've already established that no, this is not going to be a live service game, and I've heard people saying that it's only going to have a $40 price tag, although I couldn't find that myself. Maybe you guys in the comments can point out where that's located. And the people concerned about the lore, they did say alternate timeline, so I'm sure some arguments are going to break out whether that means canon or not, but it sounds like you'll be able to play both ways when it comes to theorizing on the lore with all the Nightreign stuff. But if you're someone that's looking at Nightreign and thinking, oh no, FromSoftware is lost and are just chasing trends now, I don't think that's fair to say at all. Miyazaki has already said that the games he is going to be working on are still going to be Souls-likes and are still going to be dark fantasies. And he's been telling us for the past few years that there are going to be these smaller scale projects by other directors that will be experimental and take on other genres. So you have to take Nightreign for what it is. You can't force these judgments on it based on what it's not trying to be. The game is made for fun, and the way to look at it is just to have fun with it. That's just the way I see it though. Again, I fully understand the criticisms and the skepticism by longtime fans, even if the game comes out and it's not good. I still don't think that would be a good reflection on the future of FromSoftware, simply again because of what Nightreign is and what it's not. It's not trying to be the future of FromSoftware. And based off the testimonies of people that have already played it, it seems like it's going to be a good game. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the network test. Hopefully I'll get a code. Thing with these closed network tests is it's all luck of the draw. And I wasn't so lucky with the initial network test for the release of Elden Ring, but we'll see though. Y'all let me know though down in the comments section. Are you concerned for Nightreign? Do you think it's a bad sign for FromSoftware, or are you happy to just get a little small scale game that's meant for fun? Either way though, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Elden Ring Nightreign. But with all that, I will catch you in the next one.